This worksheet can be downloaded by signing up at musiclabs.ca. You'll get an email with instant access to the downloads area. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take our circle of fifths to the next level. We know that songs seem to be classified by a couple of things. So far we know the key name like A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. But we also know that they can be major or minor. We might have discovered that major songs seem to sound a little happier and minor songs might sound a little more sad, but that's actually not a hard and fast rule. They can actually sound happy as minor songs as well and sad as major songs, but there's a generality there. That minor songs might be a little bit more bluesy or a little bit sadder sounding. So what about chords? What chords are found in those keys and what order do you put those chords to make them sound good? Well, that's kind of up to you. But let's take one of the songs that we worked on earlier. It's Twist and Shout by the Beatles. Now, if you Google that, you're going to find it's in the key of D major. So let's turn our dial to D underneath the uppercase Roman numeral 1 for major on the outside ring here. If we also Google the chords that are used in that song, those chords are D major, G major, and A major. Now, those are major because they're next to uppercase Roman numerals. Keep that in mind. And they're also on the left-hand side of this line, which means all of these chords are major. And you can see on the right-hand side, all of these chords are minor. Now, they play the 1-4-5 chord progression. So you may have heard that before. So that just means D major is the 1, the 4 is G major, and 5 is A major. So played in that order of 1, 4, and 5, it's D, G, and A, all in major form. There's the most common and most talked about chord progression on the planet, is the 1-4-5 chord progression. And now you know how to create it. So the next step is to do it again. Find some more songs. Take a look at the chords that are actually being used in the songs and find them on the dial. Find the order that they're being played in and write that order down. That is your chord progression. It's as easy as that. Also, you should know that these numbers, these Roman numerals, are actually called the Nashville numbering system. So if you hear someone say that, that's all they're talking about. It also should be noted that these are not hard and fast rules. Music theory is very loose, contrary to popular belief. Just because all these chords are listed here doesn't mean, of course, that you have to use all of them. But if you found a chord that sounded good, there's no reason why you can't use it. And a perfect example of that is the chord that's hiding right underneath next to this G. In the key of D major, a C major will very likely work as well. By the same token, an E major may work in the key of D major as well, because it is very close to the A. It's up to you, using your musical creativity, to add chords that may not be involved in this key at all. When the chords that are used in the song are all found here in the windows, there's a fancy word for that. That's called diatonic. That just means that you didn't step out of the key to find a new chord to play in the song. 90% of music out there today is diatonic. So now you know another fancy word to impress your friends with. The worksheet you'll be able to download looks like this. I'm going to quickly go through it, but I recommend that you download it and answer the questions. All right, let's take it to the next level. We're going to have a slightly more complicated chord progression. We're going to stick in the key of G major here, and we're going to do a chord progression that is probably the most famous. It is the 1-5-6-4 chord progression, and we're going to use the key of G major. With the G underneath the uppercase Roman numeral 1, that's our 1 chord. Our 5 chord, of course, is right beside it. It's D major. That's the 5, Roman numeral 5. Then we have the 6 chord. That's down here. Roman numeral 6, but it's lowercase, so that means we have to play this as a minor. So we're G major, D major, E minor, and then we have a 4 after that, and that is C major. So that is our 1-5-6-4 chord progression. G major, D major, E minor, C major. All done for us on the circle of fifth style. Super easy to find. Okay, that's great, but can we reverse engineer a chord progression? Let's say we don't know the key. Now, of course, we can always Google a key, but challenging yourself and figuring out the key of a song based on just the chords is going to make your brain think a little bit differently, think it in a little bit more of a musical way and understand how this works. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the song Someone Like You by Adele. So let's pretend we don't know the key, but we did Google and we found that the following chords are being used in the song: A major, C sharp minor, F sharp minor, D major, and E major. Well, some people will say that the key of the song is always the first chord of the song or the last chord of the song. It's actually not true for a lot of cases. So what we're going to do is use a different method. I'm going to take just the major chords from that list of chords that I just mentioned, which is A major, D major, and E major. And I'm going to rotate the dial until I can get all three of those chords into my major windows: A major, D major, and E major. So if I put A as my tonic, is another word for the one, A major, D major, and E major are all in my major windows. That's pretty good. Now, what about the minors? We have to make sure that they are in the minor windows. C sharp minor and F sharp minor, where my two minor chords I have to make sure are in the key, which are diatonic, if you remember. So I have a C sharp minor and an F sharp minor in between these two lines, and beside lowercase Roman numerals, that means they're minor. So I've got all my chords diatonic inside the key. That means it is either the key of A major or F sharp, or the relative key of F sharp minor. This song is in the key of A major. Pretty cool. Let's pretend you didn't know the rest of the chords of the song. That's all you had. And you were trying to figure out an unknown chord. Well, it wasn't one of the other chords you had already played, so try playing a B minor. And as a matter of fact, if you Google it and you find in the song, they actually do use the chord B minor as well. So all the chords are being used, and they are all diatonic. That means they are found within the key. Look how far you've come. Now you can take chords, put them into the circle of fifths dial, and find out the key. You can also use the key to find chords that may actually be in the song when you're trying to figure one out by ear. Now, of course, you could also transpose a song to a different key, but that's a lesson for another day. Now, don't forget, there are no rules. This is just a guide. Music theory is just to help you on the way. Feel free to take a branch off your path and do whatever you want. If it sounds good, it's fine.